Good evening, everybody, and welcome to WOR for the finale of Season 17. I am joined by the incredible Joseph, as per the majority of the season and last season as well. The dynamic duo, let's say. But we are at Brazil. Brazil is an incredible track, and what a way to end the season in the, I suppose, spiritual home of the end of the season for me. Yeah, fingers crossed, and I'm sure we'll discuss Season 15's finale in great detail a bit later on with that two-lap finish at the end. But let's head to track, because they're already out fighting, and quite literally fighting, is TF10 Dirk and the Williams of Schumacher, I think. Look at the gaggle of cars at the exit of, is it Meridula? No, I'm getting the names mixed up there. Is Magilio, sorry, at turn 11. And I think Schumacher is going to be in trouble here. All the cars, though, nicely parked to the left-hand side as they go through turn 12 and up the hill through 13. And Schumacher might get a time in, but I don't think it's going to be that competitive because of the scrapping at turn 1 with TF10 Dirk.
And he joins his Red Bull teammate for tonight on the front row as well.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one through all this, as I think that's Volokongan throwing himself into third there. It was 2x2 for a little bit of a time, but the Alpine driver making it a little bit skew with, and there is BRT Lou through it as well, splitting the McLarens as Jensen just ahead of Quantum. And Dirk has invalidated on his lap time, so I don't think he's going to be doing much of a lap time, as Cameron Dowds crosses a line with a 107.4, I think, there, but must have been invalidated.
107.2 it says for me, so it would have gone pole by a tenth, I think, but if anything happens now, he could well be starting down the order for this finale, which could make it very interesting indeed. Jack L likewise also invalidating, but that was only a 108.1. Already we've got cars back in the pit lane, a quick turnaround, short in laps, short out laps as well for the drivers, so just maximising the on-track time available to them right now. Yeah, but if there wasn't any rain forecast, I'm really confused at Schumacher's motive to go and overtake Dirk. Maybe something was provoked, a lack of gentleman's agreement maybe up towards Jun Sao, overtaking maybe going on there, and Schumacher maybe just wanted to give a little bit back to Dirk, but I'm not going to speculate on that too much unless Dirk himself wants to talk about it. But already out on outlaps, not really in too much of a rush. I think we could be okay weather-wise in the end.
Yeah, I think it gave us a little bit of false hope that, we all expected some sort of rain because of the franticness between the two of them, but nothing doing in the end, as PR Jack L coming up through turn 13 and 14. Is this going into the pits? It is going into the pits. He must have invalidated on his last lap as well, which means we've got outlaps for Wai Choco. What can he do? It's good to see him still bounding around, and I believe this will be his first lap in anger, let's say. But it does look quite cloudy out here in at Interlagos, doesn't it? So it's still there's that threat of rain which might go onto it.
Yeah, another thing they'll be looking at as well inside the garage and on the various telemetry apps that there are nowadays, track temperature. That's always a big indicator of how much grip the circuit is going to yield, and potentially the level of rain that could be on the horizon. But again, some good lap times at the moment. I don't think we're in too bad of a position at the moment. Choco's first sector 16.7. You're is aiming for the 16s. Choco's managed to find that in a lap time. Well, a lap time. It's a very short first sector, a longer middle sector, and then again a shorter final sector. This is make or break for the drivers coming up through Ferradura into turn number 8. Tricky hairpin, medium speed corner, third gear. Get another kick out there of the rear just to try and rotate the car using the rear. And then down into third gear again. Really slow speed, that one. Up at the top of the Bico to Pato, down the hill through turn 11, and onto Jun Stauber, who's got clear track in front of him, which is always good. It's a blind downhill section. The last thing you want is for any traffic to be sat there.
Definitely, and, you know, with Choco's lap time at the moment is looking relatively solid as he heads down the start-finish straight. It's a 107.4, which will put him 5th place for the time being. But if you look at Gabor, Tom and Gustav, look how close they are there. And that Gustav being Ryder Dahl, as I didn't know last week, and I do know now. Anyway, let's go on board with Keke. Let's see what he can do. Currently P8. Let's see if he can find a little bit more time in all this. And, you know, a 107.5 is a pretty respectable time at this stage in qualifying, though, so he shouldn't be too disheartened by it. But when you've still got the likes of Flotman, who we know is very good at qualifying, Dirk can do a good qualifying, but also Cameron Dowd's yet to set a lap time, he will be wanting just to push a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, and he knows he's got time to be able to find that lap time now. He knows that without the invalidation, he'd be the quickest of the lot in this session so far, but that's all in hindsight. He's got to actually produce on this second run in the session now. Keke's lap time, he's lost a bit of time in the middle sector. I don't think he really pushed as much as he could have in Jun Sao, but he'll complete the lap anyway. Will the flying Finn in this session, or will he pull into the pit lane? No, he's going to pull into the pit lane, but we're still doing it at pretty much full pace. Meanwhile, I think Cameron Dowd is halfway around his lap now. It was a 16.7 for the first sector. Again, that's very much top 3 potential.
Definitely. Through turn 6 and 7 comes the race winner from last time out at Miami. And obviously, it's the real Miami going on at the moment as Tim goes fastest of all in the Haas. At the moment, with 9 minutes left of this session remaining, Lou, I think, puts himself into 3rd place, splitting the Red Bulls up. Shazoo Tom has retired. Is that a crash on track into turn 10 there?
Yeah, it is up the hill. I think he must have dropped it, touched a bit of grass on the exit. And our season 15 finale winner will start, well, possibly in the bottom 10 now because, well, Cameron Dowds saying that has just bettered his invalid lap time, got a 10th quicker than what he could manage with the red track map illuminated. Yeah, Tom, not a great mistake to make. I think I know the reason why. I think he just wants a piece of the Everton game.
We'll wait and see on that one to hear his thoughts. But Jack, unfortunately, only managing 18th place. So let's go on board with Flopman. But, you know, last time in season 15, if my memory serves me correctly, Shazoo Tom started towards the back of the grid, had a really topsy-turvy race. Oh, what has gone on with Flopman there?
I think that's a last to first challenge because that's quite a pronounced spin into the wall, isn't it? Lewis Hamilton-esque from 2017 where he dipped it in the damp conditions. But yeah, I think Flopman just wants to start at the back and is making very sure of that. I don't think we can read too much into that.
Now let's see what Brando can do. He's up on his laptop and put 0.2 of a second, which should put him roughly in that top 5, the lower end of the top 5 position with how things stand at the moment. He's flying down the start-finish straight now. Is it going to be good enough for Brando to be anywhere in that top 5? It's not, unfortunately. Only 8th place for him. But like I mentioned a bit earlier on, it's so tight. Look at from Gabor down to Schumacher at the moment. It's really tight.
Yeah, it was. Brazil always one of those close circuits because of the short lap time, the short distance around the circuit, and there's not really too many pace-splitting corners. Usually you have those really challenging bits on some venues, but not so around here. It's all very flowing. It's all a track that the drivers can get used to very quickly, and in some cases, without much practice. As crazy as that sounds to say. Gabor popping up there into P2, going almost within 300ths of Cameron Dowds. That, again, brings the pack a little bit closer. Gabor, the best qualifiers on his day, really making sure that he wants that final pole of the season.
Across the line from Barracuda there, but I think it was maybe another initial setup lap, possibly, for the Alpine driver. I'm just catching up with the chat. Please let us know if you can hear Joseph, because I would really, really be upset if we just spent the last 9-10 minutes talking and none of you can hear him. But yeah, let us know in the chat, Barracuda. Well, not just about Barracuda, but if you can hear Joseph, but also who you think is going to get pole with 5 minutes left of the session. Cameron Dowds is the man to watch at the moment, as there's a little bit of snap of oversteer, I think, there from Barracuda as he heads on through into turn, the exit of turn 7 into 8. And he looks like he's holding it nicely at the moment. He's got to better his 1:07.5 time, though, as he heads on through past the sector split time. What is it going to show us? He is up 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, he is. I'm just reading Jota. I'm loud and clear, unfortunately. Well, it's a good job you won't have to listen to me any longer after this race, eh? And you're not having my custom on Monday night now for the Legacy Division. I'm joking. You are. It is absolutely a race worth watching, as the championship could be wrapped up in a couple days' time. However, still plenty of invalidations up and down the field. Another driver it's good to see back this evening. Shizu Jensen had hardly noticed him. He's looking for an improvement on this particular lap. He's on a flying lap at the moment, as is Keke. I think he's now on an in lap. TF10 Dirk making his way to the end of the first sector. 16.8. He's a little way off the pace, but his progression recently from Tier 2. And of course, he got that result last week as well that he was very pleased about. Gets another opportunity to show what he's about tonight.
Yeah, as he heads on through turn 12 and into, the start-finish straight, really. It's just one, angled curve, really. You can't really call it one corner, but it's just constant to the left-hand side. Here goes Jensen. Unfortunately, it is quicker, but not quick enough to push him any higher than 15th place. Ogween, I believe, is on the lap time as well, the Aston Martin driver for tonight. Let's see how he can handle the pressures as he heads on through this middle sector. And I think Jota is sending you some love as well.
I'm just reading it and trying to forge a response to it. Thank you very much, Jota. Much appreciated, as always. But yeah, drivers coming back into the pit lane now. Dirk flying up the order there to P8. Volokongan running slightly out of sync and only making his way out on the circuit. Another thing to note, the sun's come out. So all of that fighting at the start, maybe that was just a Schumacherism. His overtake on Dirk at the first corner. There was no need for it in the end. He completely tricked us into thinking we were going to have a quick qualifying session. No, it's going down to the wire. Everybody has got a chance if they can hook up this final qualifying lap of the season.
Yeah, 3 minutes and 25 seconds remaining for these guys tonight. I don't think, well, for qualifying anyway, I don't think we're going to get some sort of miracle issue where it just shuts down everything. I don't know why I've said that now, because they could very well have just cursed it. But anyway, Volokongan is going to set his final lap time. He could, though, however, if he does mess up early enough in the lap, get another lap in. I know that sounds very convoluted there, but it is possible, as it's a terrible camera angle. So let's have a look from his POV as he heads on down the start-finish straight into turn 1. And Volokongan is going to need a much quicker time to get himself out of the problems he's with at the moment.
Spectacular downhill section through the Senna-S DRS Open for the second time down the Retta Riposta, translating to opposite straight in English as it runs almost parallel. It's not parallel to the start-finish straight. There's the impeding, and it was one of the Ferrari cars. I do hope that wasn't Cameron Dowds that was sat on the exit. Oh, it was. Oh dear. What's going on?
That is not ideal. At least Volokongan has enough time to recharge some of that battery, and poor old Volokongan, getting caught up with Cameron Dowds there. And I wonder if there's going to be enough time for these guys coming out the pits now to set a lap time, a retirement for Ogween, who is going to be the first man to set a lap time. And now, is it going... It's not the Williams driver, so it might very well be. It is Volokongan's managed to get himself through the grid again, and he is going to be the man that sets the lap time. The first of the final lap times of this season in Tier 1 crossplay.
A side note on any potential blocking penalties, of course, it's the end of the season, it's the end of the game cycle, there won't be qualifying bans. I think anything that is reported gets turned into a time penalty for the race. So if anything goes on here, which looks unlikely because it was only Volokonga running out of sync, and he still does have the opportunity to go again, then yes, that will occur. Same going for any sort of crazy incidents that may happen in the race. Penalties possibly a little more severe in the form of second time penalties for that one.
Let's see. We won't. Well, I mean, we don't have our championship winner here, so I'm changing subjects massively. Skew with here, Joseph, so please bear with me. But yes, we don't have our championship leader here as we get our first grid penalty for illegal blocking. I believe World of Online restart for the final time in Season 17. Hopefully this isn't a thing in F1 2024, but we can't guarantee anything. But Volokongan on a lap time, what can he do? Can he do anything about the man that blocked him in his first, well, in the lap time just over a minute ago? He's heading into turn 12 now. This is it. This is his final throw at the dice at qualifying, and he's made a mistake. He's gone too far on the exit of 12, and that's it. His qualifying is over and done with. Into the pits for Volokongan. No higher than 14th for him, but there's still more drivers coming through now.
Cameron Dowds is invalidated. He won't improve on that provisional pole benchmark time. NVR Gabor is a 10th down still. So we need a miracle in the final corner to get and jump Cameron Dowds. He's lost slightly more time in the final sector and does not improve. He stays second as well. Tim's improving slightly. Barracu, he's fourth at the moment. This could be a spectacular maiden Tier 1 pole if he can hook up the final sector. Still a little way off it at the moment. Brando gets himself into the top three once again. He's been fantastic recently. He's found some great form. Choco, his teammate, up into 6th. NLR Tim, this will be a revealing second sector. He's almost a 10th up. If he finds 3,000ths more, he's on pole, Gareth.
This is going to be incredible for NLR Tim. He's pushing now all the way to the start-finish strike. He's not going to be able to get a tow, which he probably would have liked from the car ahead of him. But across the line for the Haas driver, it's the same lap time. That is insanity.
Oh, I can't believe it. That is absolutely incredible. Poor Tim. It flashed purple. I thought he'd done it. But he starts second because he set the lap time second. The closest qualifying of the season. At the very end of the season, Cameron Dowds takes pole by literally nothing.
Oh, well, take your hat off to Tim. What a lap time from him, but so unfortunate. Second place goes to the Haas driver. Gabor in third. Brando in fourth. Fifth to TF10 Dirk. Quantum in sixth. Seventh to Barracu. Choco in eighth. Ninth to Gustav. And Schumacher rounding out the top 10. Then we have Ryan, BRT Lou, Ogween, Shazoo Tom, Volokongan, Keke, Jensen and Jack with Flopman and TC. Matuka? TC, I believe that is. Rounding, well, unable to set a lap time in. But yeah, that was... I completely agree with what was said in the chat there. That was very Gary Neville-esque, so well done.
I was almost celebrating. That's why I went, yeah, but no. It just had to be, as you looked on the timing tower, that he was second in the end. However, we are going to have a restart. Another thing worth noting is if you stick all those Tier 1 drivers in Tier 2 just an hour ago, none of them would have got pole. Venom actually bettered all of those in Tier 2 with a 107.093. Another stat to throw in, based on the fact that I don't think everybody there was quite at full potential. So, again, that could make this race a bit more exciting.
Definitely. Wow, what a crazy, crazy qualifying session. Started off with us thinking it's going to be rain because Schumacher and Dirk had a little squabble and then ended up with, well, two drivers on the same lap time. I don't think you could have written that at all for this season. I tell you what, as we haven't yet, let's go back to the results at Miami with Cameron Dowds and his pretty much 10-second lead to Dirk in second place, and Ryan rounding out those podium scoring positions. It was, unfortunately, take Cameron out of the race. It was really interesting for that battle for second place. As soon as Cameron got that lead, he was gone.
Yeah, it was honestly a fantastic performance from Cameron Dowds, but I can't say much more about it because he won by 18 seconds on Tuesday night in the WOR Legacy Division, which just absolutely eclipsed that Miami Grand Prix from last week. So, again, a third win on the bounce in WOR competitions for Cameron Dowds. Ryan and Dirk, some great strategy calls from them. I think they pit a little bit earlier, if I do remember correctly. They got themselves the track position. They were able to hold on. Great podium fight as well, involving Voller, Tudi, and Gatkovsky all running down to P6, and then beyond that, some great fights in the midfield.
Definitely, and let's have a look at the standings while we wait for the lobby to get reopened and, the positions set for all the drivers at tonight's race, as Kai Pearson is our champion, probably deservedly so after the last two seasons where a few things haven't gone his way, and his teammate being so dominant him and his teammate being so dominant in 15, and there was always only ever going to be one driver that won that championship, and it couldn't have been both of them, unfortunately. But yeah, he's leading the way. But Cameron Dowds, it looks like now this is opening the door for him being the next best thing on console, really.
Yeah, Kai Pearson firstly will be glad he's not racing in the finale tonight after what happened last season, where he lost the championship in the final round. Cameron Dowds could go within 2 points because Kai Pearson hasn't raced in either of the two final rounds. Massive future, whether that's back to PC, remaining on console, and just continuing to develop. He has got a massive future in front of him, and everybody knows that at this point in time. Joe Murphy absent, I think. Bowman, Tudi absent, as they are both venturing over to PC soon, so all very exciting. It's all set in stone in this championship order. Could be some breakthroughs into the top 5, including Shizou Tom, but I'm going to describe tonight's race as a bit of an exhibition based on the fact there's not much to play for in the championship.
Definitely, you could call it a pre-season race. Obviously, we're not sure how the handling model is going to completely come out of F1 2024. We won't know until the game is released. They like tweaking things at the last moment, but yeah, it's anyway. Enough said about that, and let's go back here and. Well, overall, it's been a really good season, hasn't it? Generally, some incredible battles. Kai Pearson has done a fantastic job, but when we think about it, Cameron Dowds has had those silly mistakes, I think is the best way to describe it, at the start of the season, where if he didn't, would he be in the would we still have Kai Pearson here now fighting for the championship? Yeah,
possibly. I can't remember specific mistakes. I don't think they've been big, but yeah, I mean we can backdate and make predictions what we think could have happened, but in the end, Kai got the job done early in the season. Had a 50-point lead after 4 or 5 rounds, wasn't it? And that was always going to be hard to come back from. Not rather Cameron's lack of ability, just Kai's superb ability, I think, at the start of the season.
And I mean, we had Joe Murphy as a title battler with him and Liam Bowman. Liam Bowman, I don't know whether he went off the boil a little bit, or I know he retired or went reserve, I think is the best way to describe it, after, was it the race before China, which now I can't remember, but it was, he got caught up in an incident, and I think that was it. He knew title was over. But it's great to see that many different drivers attacked Kai Pearson, but they couldn't all do it at once, and Kai Pearson had that level throughout.
Yeah, exactly. I think with Bowman, I think he had his game towards next game now, which is completely fair enough. Just don't think he wanted to see out a season where he didn't really have too much chance at the championship. Completely acknowledged that Kai was beyond gone at that point. But still, leaves Console was, what, a 3-time race winner. So plenty of legacy still there on the table for these guys, and plenty of the current crop of drivers all wanting to be that next step, and that's why towards the start of the season they were all having a good go.
Yeah, and I'll cast our mind back. I think it was season 13. I want to say season 13. I am just going to look at my stats. It wasn't season 13. It was season 14, where we had another driver that was very much a case of probably should have won a title here on console, and that was NRX Rusty. And it just went off the boil for him. He was 2 races in, 2 wins in, and we never saw the best of him because I'm unsure why, because he really up there. Possibly, it seems like it's an Hulkenberg moment with podiums, not having one yet. Rusty probably should have had a title, but hasn't.
Yeah, Rusty's an interesting story. It was absolutely fantastic driver when he was with us. I'm saying that like he's dead. He's not dead. He messaged me the other day, but yeah, it's that. I think that was a motivation factor. I think that was a community factor. Maybe just not feeling in the right place in terms of the game. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Yeah, and that obviously came to the point in F1 22 where he stopped it for good, really. So a shame to see him, but I don't think anybody's been in a situation like that, considering the linear progression that's now available to many.
And now, I teased it earlier. Let's talk about the last time we raced here, season 15, round 10 finale again, with an incredible victory for Shazoo Tom, but thanks to a 2-lap sprint at the end of the race.
It was a completely mysterious safety car because it came out of absolutely nowhere. We had still don't know what the cause was, whether somebody had lost the front wing or something. But half the drivers, I think, just over came in for softs. I think from 6th downwards, everybody went on to the softs. It was Jerry Van Bussel, I believe, that was the head of that field. He was the one going for the podium, going for the race win. He then lost it coming through turn 11. Massive pile up at Junsao. It was a 4-car fight on the final lap. Tom was 4th at the start of the lap and finished in a 4-way drag race over the line to win that one. So that's just a taster of what could potentially happen should the same situation come about here today. But yeah, a really one-of-a-kind race in the end.
Yeah, definitely. And it's definitely one to watch back for those of you that haven't seen it. Honestly, some of the best things to do is go back and watch it. We are waiting on the timer to come down, so thank you very much for waiting with us. The race is very, very nearly upon us here in WOR season finale at Brazil. We've crowned champions here before as well. We've had Thomas Ronhar and Tom Manley, some names you might know from this little thing called F1 Esports. But yeah, those drivers have been crowned champions here as well, which in console, it was Xbox back then, but now it's console tier 1. It just shows how much of a stepping stone this is to get yourself into that scene.
Reese Linton, another one recently. Season 15, he wrapped up the championship here. I forgot to mention his title that day. He's now killing it over in PC tier 2. Opportunities will come, I'm sure, more frequently next game in the top tier of WOR PC. I hope that does come for him. But yeah, it has been a battleground for legends previously. Maybe not the same heritage tonight as many would describe. Okay, this is what I wanted. We've got rain.
Yeah, we do. And just to prove it, so you guys don't think we are lying, here it is. We are, I would love to say in the commentary box here at Brazil, but we're not. But there, you can see it pounding it down. And this is going to change the strategies completely, isn't it, Jose? This is going to be... well, we don't know if it's going to be dry towards the end of the race. Is it going to be inters throughout? Is it going to get heavier? Is it wet weathers? Or yeah, I think looking at it, it's probably just inters, isn't it? But it would be nice to get a final 6-lap sprint at the end, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and indeed. I mean, they on the grid know what we don't know at this stage, but again, head scratching. What setups? What wings? Do I set up late race? Do I set up for the start of the race? Regardless. Yeah, this order could be shaken up in the matter of a few laps, as that dry pace is going to be completely different to the wet weather pace, especially if people haven't been practicing as much because of the lack of championship incentives on offer tonight. I'll say that much, but yeah, what a way to go out this season. Rain in Brazil, so common, so brilliant.
And that means we are underway with 4-5 red lights here at Interlagos for the final time in Season 17, and away we go. And it's not Quantum leading the way, sorry, it is Cameron Dowds that has a really good start over NOL Tim as they head on into Turn 1. And I haven't seen this glitch in a little while, Joseph, but Gamble and Tim battling away. There's a little bit of contact, and look at the contact in the background. Tim and Gabble still side by side as they head on down the Retro into Turn 4, and I think it's going to be Gabble that holds that position. And look at oh my goodness, the Williams has got air.
I've just seen a Williams go through 4 bits of Pirelli advertising and do a bunny hop back onto the circuit. F1 23 is the game that keeps on giving, and it's produced again on lap 1 of 36 of the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. I think it was Flotman. It may have been Schumacher who's further down the order, but miraculously they're both okay. Still scrapping through the field, through turn number 9 now, and Jensen's just been shoved off the track a little bit, and he's dropped it under traction in 5th gear. A first big mistake from one of the drivers tonight. It's only lap 1, but this is chaotic.
Oh, and there's a spin, and there's a collection there from NOL Tim into turn 12, sorry. Oh my goodness. This is wow. Unexpected, I think is the best way to describe it. There could be damage to Quantum's car. Cameron Dowds is obviously the fastest man in the race because of it being the first lap. And the timing screen will get itself sorted eventually, so please bear with us. I think it will sort itself out when they cross the first sector time down the bottom end of the Reta Reposta. But yeah, wow, what a start to this Grand Prix. Bunny hopping and spins galore, but Cameron still leads this Grand Prix.
Yeah, he does, not by much. Gabor still sticking right with him on his tail. A 2-second gap to Quantum. That's where Tim opened up the train by spinning unprecedentedly through Jun Sao, again dropping it, maybe touched the grass on the entrance to the corner, but if not, rear locking, not doing him any favours at all there. Feels like the real race hasn't yet got underway. This feels like a warm-up for some of the drivers because of the bizarre mistakes we've been seeing. Flotman trying to recover now, goes up the inside of the Alpine of Shizu Volakongan. Vola leaves him the space. We'll have the traction on the exit, and the inside coming through turn 11. Another big snap there from the Alpine. He tries to keep his rear in check. He does so and retakes 15th.
We'll go on with the leaders of this one, and I think there is just something wrong, maybe with there's no audio on the cars now, so hopefully that'll sort itself out. It is meant to be, it is on my side, so we'll wait and see. Gabble unable to attack Cameron Dowds, as while I try and fix that, Joseph, if you possibly go on what's happening for the battle for P3.
Choco's going to the right-hand side. It's going to be 3 wide with Quantum in the middle. He has to back out of both AlphaTauris. Choco doesn't quite get his teammate there, Brando, who holds on to 3rd place. But Choco making some great moves at the start of this race, up 4 positions. The biggest gainer is Tom with 6. He started 14th due to a crash, but he's really coming alive in these conditions. Defending there, the Alpine of Barracu. Dirk attacks Quantum. Going into turn 8. Can he hold it now around the outside of turn 9? Traction very nicely done on the inside there. Down the inside he goes. Does get it slowed down. And miles ahead of Quantum before they reach the exit of the corner. Barracu struggling for grip there. Tom still slotting into P8. Ryan there in 9th as well. It's the end of lap 3. Would usually have DRS enabled by this point, but the drivers having to do it the hard way.
I think Choco's just made a little bit of a mistake as well at 13. Just saw it just squirm a little bit there as Barracu coming back at Quantum into, down the start-finish straight into turn 1. I think everything is hopefully sorted on the volume side of things as Tim trying to defend from Lou. He's falling down the order, as is Keke. Jensen is the fastest man on the track, but I think that could be because he's got a little bit of just clear air. As I say that, Schumacher picking up a 5-second penalty.
I don't even want to question what he's just done. He was 5 seconds behind. He's now 2 seconds behind. This contact, I think, a bit of a domino effect. Matuka TC, PR Jack L, and one of the Williams cars of Flotman involved in that one. I think somebody went into the back of the Ferrari of Jack, who in turn went into the back of the Mercedes. I'll have to look at that one again. Jack's got a penalty for trying to recover to the circuit. That's basically his race over, I'm afraid, as a result of that collision. A driver that doesn't seem to have much luck. Oh! They're on top of each other.
What? I couldn't. Well, I didn't see that. Possibly for the best, as all the cars are battling.
No, it's desynced.
Oh no!
It has to be desynced, doesn't it? It looks like the guys are just driving into each other at this stage. Hopefully it's not just on my end, because we've had issues back in Bahrain, if you remember, where we saw different to the rest of what the drivers were seeing. But I've just seen a Red Bull go airborne and been ploughed into. Something's wrong here.
Yeah, this is not ideal, and it could be with the timing screen being off at the beginning. I think we had that at Bahrain as well, which is not ideal, as we have lost that Red Bull, which is NIL Ryan as Jack retires from the session, as there's just a few cars battling through, and it's not ideal. And unfortunately, that's murdering Iowa. I should just be keeping an eye on this, not what's being said in the chat. But let us know what you think of F1 2023 as a whole. Hit it, chat. Let us know. But Joseph, yeah, this is unfortunate. But Brando and Choco trying to get away from Dirk at the moment.
Yeah, they are, and well, hopefully they are doing that without hitting each other, because it's still a challenge in May 2024. That's if there is legitimate, there is not legitimate lobby problems, that is, because what we're seeing has been nothing short of quite bizarre so far. A bit of lag there from Choco as he tries to chase down Brando as the two AlphaTauris continue their task of working together and trying to break Dirk, but nothing else really going on throughout the course of the first sector. It's everyone on intermediate tyres, perhaps these guys feeling the effects of the WOR coming in now. No real change in the rain intensity either. That sort of calm stage of the race. But as I say that, Tim is going for a move on his NLR teammate Gustav.
Yeah, and he's very Quantum's there as well. They get very close to the back end of each other, don't they? It looks like they're going to tap, and I think there was a little bit of a love tap there from Quantum too, Tim. But I think, hopefully all is good on that one, as I think Shazoo Tom just ahead, possibly around the outside of turn 10. That is audacious. It hasn't been pulled off, but what an attempt there from Tom. But they are now losing ground from the pack ahead.
Yeah, they are. Good exit needed here for Tom. Barra hasn't got any slipstream in front of him. That still does help in these conditions. Tom using battery. Barra doing the same in trying to defend. He covers off the inside. Tom still trying to stick in the slipstream. But look, Barra still on the battery. Still pulling away. Moves across under braking there. Tom almost having to take to the grass. Barra stays ahead as a result. That was on the edge, but it was fair. Tim and Gustav going side by side now as well. No contact there. Absolutely amazes me to say. Quantum looking to get involved. Tom wants to have another go. He can't do so.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to watch. Well, keep an eye on which one to keep on board with, because so many battles happening at once at the moment, which is great to see. But if there is that decent issue that there is a possibility, then it's not ideal for some of these guys. I think Gustav is struggling a little bit for pace because Tim's got the measure of him at the moment, and I think Quantum is trying to find a way past here. The Sauber, the Alfa Romeo Sauber kit car is struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just the momentum getting away from him at this point. Make one mistake and they will just start to creep in throughout the course of the race. Jensen ahead of Schumacher now. As Schumacher's miraculously caught up, by the way. He was miles off the back of the pack, but now seems to be involved. Quantum up into P9. Mistake on the exit from Gustav. There's just another one of the mistakes creeping in, and Lou now deploying some battery as well in numbers to try and get past his Alfa Romeo teammates and break into the points. And he has done. Down the inside at turn 1. No response there from Gustav.
Unfortunately, it did look like a little bit of a punt to pass there from Quantum. Hopefully it's desync and nothing more than that, but it wasn't the most cleanest of moves into turn 12. Here is Lou, though, trying to keep the position ahead of his teammate as they head down the Retro-Aposta. All seems good, and let's go on board with Shizou Tom, who still, with that Alpine ahead, having issues.
Yeah, and sees the opportunity, Tom. I thought he was going to commit to that one, but the gap just disappeared right before he was able to lunge down the insides on the brakes there. Again, Tom will be watching that gap in front. It was about a couple of laps ago where he first tried to go for the move, and he's getting towards that again. So, yeah, he knows as well that Barra can just harvest ERS a lot more easily in these conditions. So the point where he just continues to use battery is the point where Tom is just going to find it increasingly more difficult to make the move. Cameron Dowds and MVR Gabor in a league of their own, but unlike in traditional Cameron Dowds fashion, he's not been able to gap the car yet in second place. Here comes Keke on Gustav. Another all NLR fight, and Keke, like Blue on the last lap, gets him at turn 1.
Yeah, I think there might be problems for Gustav. He's dropping the field. Maybe it is... Oh, he's attacking, though. He's attacking Keke around, well, the exit at Curva de Sol. And there's a Williams trying to get involved in this as well. That's Flotman and Ogween. It could end... Please don't go full wide into turn 4, because that would be very, very risky. But Gustav retakes the position back into 11th place.
Yeah, he does. Oh, big snap from Schumacher, as I just saw in the background. Off board there, Flotman pushing Keke, pushing Gustav. All three going for it. Defending is Gustav. Flotman goes for the overtake. Could take one, could take a second around the outside at turn 9. Very opportunistic, as Gustav still continues to leave the space. Brilliant drive from the Frenchman, and just completely goes 45 degrees into the corner. They're 3 wide on the exit of the Bico de Pato down the hill. Flotman keeps the position miraculously. Gustav's back up the inside of Keke. A crazy battle, perhaps manufacturing this one a little bit when they don't need to. Ogween's getting involved. It's a 4-car fight for P11.
This is insane as Dirk gets through on Choco. But here comes Ogween to the inside of Gustav. Surely he's going to get the move done, but Gustav is keeping his car in there. This is some great entertainment, let's say, and Gustav finally gets caught out there by Ogween. Barra and Tom fighting away again. Keke and Gustav. I think we're in round 17 of these two battling.
Feels like it. Wide goes Gustav. That's easy for Keke. Gustav rejoins the circuit as he went a little bit wide, right in front of Vola Kongen, who might have some flashbacks from qualifying where Cameron Dowds was sat there in the middle of the road. This time it's Gustav. This time he's got to go down the inside. Oh, big send from the Alpine. Banging wheels ever so slightly. I think Vola Kongen will claim that one as fair. And a job done as he moves into 14th.
Jensen getting past Schumacher as well. They just seem to be struggling. Aquaplaning almost into turn 10. And for intermediate tyres, that's... quite worrying. It doesn't look like it's getting heavier, but could it be getting heavier? Could this be why we're getting so many mistakes?
Doesn't look like it visually at this moment in time. Maybe it's just the wear coming in and the adjustment of the brake bias. That proved a challenge at the start of the race. Drivers not really knowing where to align the brake bias. That's why we saw some of the rear locking. Gustav comes into the pits and retires. He's had enough of all that battling. It has taken its toll. And he becomes our second retirement after the understandable PR Jack L.
And Barracu and Shizou Tom still battling away. Still there's no way through for Tom. And he tried the outside of turn 4. He's just got... Maybe he just needs to reharvest that energy, that battery, and just go at one lunge. But is it too little, too late for this stint of tyres, maybe, for Tom?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they'll be thinking about pitting onto another set, but they do want to extend their life as much as possible in the event of a crossover, either to full wets or slick. So just about managing at this stage is perhaps why he's not been so fixated in recent laps of going for Barricue, who himself has found some steady pace now, sits behind Choco, who sits behind Dirk. Dirk now leading a small train from 4th on to 7th. We've got some little pelotons forming at the moment. I don't know if that's the word. I don't know. I don't watch cycling, but even still, it's got that feel about it.
Yeah, there's just a few. I mean, poor old Brando. Seems like he's in a world of his own at the moment. 2.3 seconds behind the the leading two, I should say, and then there's a 1.4 second gap to Dirk behind. And yeah, just a few little clumps of cars, clumps of battling going on, as we are watching Barricue try to keep up with Jocko ahead, but also keep Tom behind as well. One would think if you're keeping up with Choco ahead, you would be able to keep Tom behind, but F1 doesn't always work that way, does it?
Never ever it works like that, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't really know what to comment on at this point in time, because Gabor 100% battery, Cameron Dowd's 100% battery, the ERS usage unnecessary, you just get it back anyway. There's not really too much possibility for overtaking, unless, like Choco, you get a moment based off of a Dirk mistake, and he wants to take back 4th place himself. Finally, a battle brewing for the first time in a few laps. Choco to the outside, Dirk defends the inside. This is where Choco goes tight into turn 1, opens up turns 2 and 3, gets a brilliant exit out of the ZRSs and onto the Retro-Reposter. He'll have another go here. Will the Brit on TF10 Dirk to the outside line he goes. Will have to be brave to commit around there, and yeah, does back out of that one. So challenging to make this move.
Definitely, and we've seen Tom struggle making a move on Barra in similar sort of situations, and Choco now having the same sort of issues. Quantum and Tim look like they could be getting close together, same as Flotman and Lou. So Flotman's moved his way up the field. That's something we've missed, because Lou was in the point scoring positions. So Flotman doing a good job at the moment, but 2 seconds back from 9th place Quantum. But yes, at the moment, Choco just struggling to size up the move on TF10 Dirk.
Yeah, he is. He might have another go on this next lap. A little bit more ERS in favour of Choco, but this time he gets the worst exit. Jun Sao is proving absolute havoc for the drivers. It's make or break for their entire lap that comes ahead of them, whether they're going to make an overtake or not, whether they feel confident the next lap or not. So again, Choco's poor turn that time. It was Dirk on the previous lap, and we still remain as we are. A small battle between Tim and Quantum. That's quite isolated for 8th place. Beyond that, they'll all be hoping some sort of intervention to bring them closer to the front pack. It's really, really staggered out there.
Yeah, it's quite staggered. I think there's a good, well, probably 9 different nine different groups, let's say, or pelotons, or whatever we're going to go with for tonight. But Choco, I think Dirk actually is catching Brando ahead. It's 1.2 seconds now. I think it was 1.4 a few laps ago. So he's found some rhythm. He's found some heart again, I guess you could say, and is trying to find a way back into the battle for the podium.
Yeah, everybody just wanting to be able to get onto the back of Brando, and then maybe being the car that brings them closer to the front too. But as we've been saying, so much in reserve, I think, still for Cameron and Gabor, that they might still be quite untouchable in this race if the conditions don't change. Dirk, though, pulling closer to Brando. Was about 1.6 a couple of laps ago, now down to 1.1. And in turn, he's pulled away from Choco over a second gap now as well. So again, just these changes in momentum throughout the course of the stint. Now Dirk's turn to find a bit of pace, and Tom, as close as he has been for quite a while, on the back of Barra.
Yeah, getting very close, but it's like most people, I think, just finding it difficult to find a way through. And let's see what Shazoo Tom can do through all this, as Gabor closing up to Cameron Dowd again. We'll have to see if that brews into something a little bit more. But I say that he goes back to half a second. And I was thinking, why haven't they pitted yet? It's about halfway through. Does that mean it's going to be dry towards the end? And then I realised it's 36 laps, not 30. So I may need my eyes tested. So they should be, if it's going to be dry throughout, wet throughout, sorry, we thinking lap 18, 19?
I'm looking at the raindrops. They've just disappeared. They have just disappeared. We are going to the slick tyres at some point in the near future. Hold on to those intermediate tyres, I think, at this moment in time, and set yourself up for some slicks. The rain had slowly been easing over the last few laps. Didn't want to comment on it. I gradually saw less raindrops on the halo in terms of its frequency, but now it's completely come to a standstill. And this is where things get interesting. I think a set of mediums, if it was to fully dry up soon, they'll comfortably see you through to the end. I don't think there'll be too much strategical variation, but with a pace variation, bring some contenders back into this one.
Definitely, that is something to consider. As Lou and Ogween going hammer and toe through turns 4 and 5, and it looks like I think Ogween has managed to claim that 11th place from BRT Lou, and a car strategy, I guess, best way to describe it. That could play a massive part, like you say. Some of these drivers might be fighting a more dry weather setup in comparison to some of these who may have had more of a wet setup.
Yeah, completely agree, and that will start showing even in this drier phase of the intermediate running. Is, well, not only the tyres become a little bit more bold, as we like to call them, but the track dries up and becomes more favourable to that dry setup. Still, spray being kicked up, really, when that stops. The DRS comes on, we'll start to be talking about pit stops, but does anybody choose to go a lap earlier onto a set of slicks? I think that's quite risky at this stage, considering the quite low-risk situation that drivers are in, but yeah, I think we are starting to see a bit of a pendulum swing, especially for Brando. Look at that, below 2 seconds for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, he's pushing, and he's pulled from Dirk as well. That's something else. That's gone up to 1.8 seconds. That's the highest it's been since him being in that position. And Shizou Tom looks like he was inside the Alpine of Barracu at turn 8 there. So at the moment, it's all... He's got back into normal space-time continuum, I suppose you could say. But, yeah, Shizou Tom holding, well, desperately trying to find a way through. There's still spray being kicked up, so I don't think these guys will risk dry tyres just yet. But, yeah, this is interesting from a strategic point of view of when someone's going to take a gamble, I guess.
Yeah, the top 7 stay out. They're all just waiting for that period to come. That's a huge drift into the first corner for Barra. Suboptimal, I have to say. And that might invite Tom to have another go. That's more than a drift. Barracu completely loses it on traction. Took too much of the inside curb, I believe. And that is the easiest move Tom will make all race as he moves up into P6. A move that he's wanted done for a long time. Don't rule him out of being in the podium fight for a second consecutive season that we've raced in Brazil. Yeah,
1.2 seconds though behind Choco. He's got to get a wiggle on. As I unfortunately missed that snap from Barracu. I went on board with Flotman, who went to overtake Quantum. So that was unfortunate there. But Shizou Tom already with that clear air catching Choco. So that's interesting information to note. That Shizou Tom definitely one to watch out for, under or just teetering on that second mark, which is good news for if you're a Shizou Tom fan.
Here's Everton currently drawing 1-1 at Luton Town, which he might be channeling some anger into for the remainder of this race as he sees a car in front of him pull into the pit lane. It's YI Choco who's going to be the first driver to gamble, you'd think, for a set of slick tyres. If I was to guess, it'd be mediums, but I've seen softs do 17, 18 laps comfortably in the past as well. This set of the yellow WOR mediums. Has he gone too early, or has he timed this just right?
There still looks like some spray being kicked up, isn't it? Only time will tell, but it's the risk-reward factor. I thought he was going into the wall then. That was very, very slidey from the Alpine, not Alpine driver, the AlphaTauri driver. I think he's gone too early. This is very, very difficult to hold for him.
Yes, then we're going to flick over to the lead. I see he's lost it. He's gone. He's touched the grass. And that gamble for Choco within the space of 2 corners has gone completely pear-shaped. He will not be making any advancement on that 5th place he found himself in because he's dropped it going into the Desida de Lago at turn number 4. Massively costly.
Yeah, that's such a shame for Choco. I wonder, though, if other people... I'm sure their engineers will be telling him how much of a mistake that is for Choco. He's been caught by Schumacher at a rate of knots. I don't think anyone else is going to risk it. But what would you do? Surely, if you're Choco, you go back into the pits and throw a set of inters on and then come... I don't know.
No point now. He's last anyway. To be honest, you might as well hold it and see if there's a sudden shift in conditions. All of a sudden, you're the quickest on the track again. There's no point losing another 20 seconds, in my opinion. But no, it's taking far too long to grip up. Just not in the right temperature window at all. I wouldn't replicate that if I was the engineer of any of these drivers. Word on Brando, gap down to 1.3 now. He's getting close to what could be DRS range, and he's still on a good amount of battery, which will be topped up in due course, I think, back to 100%.
Yeah, he is. He's looking like a dark horse in this one, isn't it? 1.3, 1.2 there it was just momentarily. He can see them ahead. He's catching them in slowly but surely. And it would be interesting to see what Brando could do here as he rounds the final sector now. Down the start-finish straight, still spray being kicked up as Gabor sticks to the racing line and the slipstream of Cameron ahead of him. I, for one moment, thought that there was rain hitting again. Ignore me, there was no rain. It was just my screen just having a little bit of a glitch. Volokongan up into 12th place. These inters have done 20 laps now. It's quite a margin done on these inters. They could probably go a little bit further, but the drivers are probably going to hope that it goes to dry sooner rather than later.
I think that will be my first interview question if anybody joins us after the race. What percentage are these tyres pushing at the moment? Because, I mean, I can't say that Cameron or Gabor have worked them too hard. They have just been nose to tail or raced at really consistent speeds, whereas a lot of the cars behind them have, of course, had moments that would have worn their tyres a little bit more. But yeah, it is a really long stint at a high degradation circuit for these tyres. So yeah, that'll be an interesting one. Brando is within a second. Got a genuine chance at Tier 1 glory for the first time ever. That sounds amazing to say, doesn't it, in the final race of the season. Dirk's dropped off a little bit, as has Tom. 2-second gaps forming between each of those. That's the fastest lap of the race for TRT Brando. His setup, his confidence is coming alive in this late stage. All he needs now is DRS and a set of slicks.
Yeah, surely this is indication as well that the track conditions are getting better and better and better. But is this a chink in Cameron's armour, or is he playing games with Gabor here? Because he seems just to, I don't know, he's just not been able to push away. We've seen how dominant he has been in the last 2 races, or 2 rounds, I should say. But at the moment, it's just stuck there for the time being. But definitely enter player 3, I suppose, for Brando, as he's making this a freeway battle for the lead.
Volokongan, the latest driver to come in and have a gamble, but it's not a gamble because he's onto the intermediate tyres. Is that an indication that the track isn't going to dry up at all? And if it doesn't, then Volokongan is onto a pretty good call in that one. Fresh inters now. Inters are still the quickest compound. They are still setting fastest laps, even in their worn state. So we'll see how his lap times stack up. Are there going to be any fastest laps as we cut the timing beam for the 22nd time? No, that was just a brilliant lap last time out. But Shizou Tom has now found the momentum. 17.222 as his fastest lap of the race. He's closing in on Dirk. Dirk's closed in a bit on Brando, and Brando's lost that second.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Maybe there was a mistake there from Brando. I didn't see it, but very interesting nonetheless. Volokong. Oh, Quantum is on a set of softs. Onto mediums for Ryan. I still think it's too wet. Schumacher's still pulling away from Choco as well. People are there's gambles, and there is just unsure of what to do. And at the moment, I wouldn't know what to do for these guys. Volokongan may have actually done the best thing.
He might have, but knowing people's luck, when just in general, when they've tried that second set of intermediates, it dries up just moments later. It's been absolutely crazy sometimes in that regard. Quantum and Ryan, though, have they gone under par and completely called a blinder here, like what Choco attempted, or is it another bogey for the pair of them as they may struggle for the first few laps on slick tyres? Another intermediate fastest lap by 400ths now for Cameron Dowds. He breaks that purple benchmark. Shizou Tom couldn't respond on that fastest lap that he just lost. I quite like this fastest lap battle. It's become its own little thing in the past few laps, just while we've not had much overtaking as we wait for dry conditions.
Yeah, oh my goodness, I don't see a dry line forming either. It's still quite wet, so I think very much a case of gone too early for Quantum and Ryan, as Volokongan now the fastest man on those fresh intermediate tyres. Are we going to get one of these races where it is this horrid track until lap 35, lap 34, where it is dry tyres, but you can still make it over the line if you've got those intermediates?
That's a 3-second improvement for Volokongan. Again, these tyres have got to be pushing 75%. That's just a guess. That's just the puncture territory that we often associate with these tyres. But Volokongan, if these guys are forced to pit in whatever situation, he'll be back into the top 6 or thereabouts, I do imagine. So keep an eye out on this developing situation. Can intermediates do 36 laps? I highly doubt it. I've never seen that before. Tim is going to put an end to his stint. But again, what tyres does he choose? We've established it's not yet dry enough for slicks, but fresh intermediates are putting in some belting lap times. Tim comes into the pit lane. It's a Red Bull set of soft tyres. Now we're really starting to see a consistent gamble throughout the field, but it still feels like it's a lap or two too soon. But when? When is it drying up?
You know what? I just don't know. I think possibly lap 26, or maybe this lap for the leaders. There's still just not that dry line, though, is there? When you go into turn 10, which could be a problem. I say that DRS enabled, it surely means it's dry tyres, but the spray is still kicking up. For me, it's still on the very tight wire here, but I'm sure everyone's going to throw themselves into the pits. Poor old Volokongan, though, is possibly going to have to waste all that time and go into the pits for a set of softs.
Yeah, that was a gamble on it not drying up, and unfortunately, with the DRS being enabled, the spray is just about to disappear. Based on the logic of the F1 game, that means it's time for soft tyres. A 25-lap stint. Who had front wing damage there? I saw an AlphaTauri getting a front wing repaired. It must have been Brando. He's still in his pit box, and he's lost positions to Dirk and to Top. No, Brando spawned in ahead of both of them. I saw somebody getting a wing changed, but I can't imagine it was Brando, as he's not lost much time at all.
Maybe it was Barracu, because Barracu's gone quite far away from some Shizou Tom, as we all exit the pit lane there, and it is Cameron Dowds that leads the way and now passes Schumacher to lap the Williams driver, as I'm sure he's going to be passed by Gabble as well. It'll be interesting to see what and how Volokongan handles this. Let's see it, because he's not dropping away from NR Tim.
He won't for the time being, while it is still damp now. Not much spray, but just damp. He'll be fine for now, but yeah, again, with the flick of the Magic Codemasters switch, he won't last very long, unfortunately. And it was a really good gamble, to be fair to him, because there have been times where we have just stayed on intermediates as the quickest tyre throughout the race. DRS now enabled. Cameron Dowds is on his battery. It's time for him to gap. It's time for him to do what he does best. But Gabor knows his trick and is using battery himself and has DRS to try and prevent that from happening. And Cameron Dowds winning a third straight race in WR Tier 1.
Yeah, we'll just keep on board for the time being. Volokongan, as I don't think there's going to be an overtake opportunity for Gabor just yet as Schumacher picks up a 5-second penalty. I think that was for corner cutting. Jensen's the fastest man on the track. It is definitely getting close to those tyres. The soft tyre time. And if you look at it, there's still some dampness around. There's still 0.6 of a second between Volokongan and Tim. But I think this is where we're going to see it all, as he picks up a 3-second time penalty there, Tim. It all go to pot for poor Volokongan, as he just doesn't have the grip in comparison. He's got to go into the pits this lap.
That fastest lap from Jensen was only 0.2 quicker than Volokongan, who put that in when his intermediates were fresh at the beginning of this second stint. But yeah, he really did make a good call in terms of the pace similarity to the softs. But now, fastest laps coming in 13s, and will quickly be getting faster in the course of the last 9 laps of this race. I think Volokongan's time is run on those intermediate tyres. Gabor so close to Cameron Dowds. He's not let him get away. We are going to have a fight for the race lead for the first time in about 3 weeks here in WOR. Doesn't come about often nowadays, and neither does a fight for P9. BRT Lou versus Shizu Ogween. Quantum also waiting in the wings to make a double overtake using DRS. Flotman also behind. Keke watching from afar. Quantum boxed in around the outside, can't make a double move.
Though Flotman does get through Quantum. So it is all battling for P9. This is quite entertaining back in this part. We have left Gabor as off the track goes Quantum, picking up a penalties for his trouble, and Flotman getting past Ogween. Keke, I think, is going to get the move done on Quantum as well, which he has done. And that is all change, I think, in this position up here, as BRT Lou just holding on. It's all happening, but Flotman is looking incredibly fast.
Yeah, he is, once again coming back into life after everything that went on at the start of the race for him. Got a clear run now on BRT Lou for P9. Barracu is ahead of Volokongan because the Norwegian has come into the pit lane. Those intermediates just not going to be hanging on, and they'll burn out now, as they will very quickly find out with the overheating. Oh, what a move that is from Ogween as well, getting involved with this fight. Flotman's up to 8th as a result of Volokongan pitting, and Ogween also taking control of some points in this race.
Yeah, look at that. The battle for P8 is absolutely insane. The battle for P3, though, look at that. Brando, Dirk, and Tom. I feel like we need to go on board with this one, because Shizu Tom is agonisingly close to the back end of Dirk. Brando, since the pits, it looks like he has, well, since the changeover, I should say, it looked like he was all right in that intermediate weather, but maybe dry tyres are just, or dry setup is just not his thing.
The only thing I can think of is that he made a mistake right at the end of the inter-stint, maybe on the in-lap as they were coming in for slicks, because suddenly the gap was up at 3 seconds. It's not gone up too much since we've been on the slicks. Quantum's crashed. Oh, it's happened again, Gareth. It's a late safety car in Sao Paulo.
And Brando has just been saved by that safety car. Dirk had him hung, drawn and quartered. I don't think that's the right description, but he had him for certain into turn 1. But Brando was there ahead. We're going to have a 2-lap sprint? Or is it going to be a 3-lap sprint?
It's, well, I'd say 4 laps if we're lucky. That'll be the most we get out of this. So it's not quite as dramatic as before, but it's still going to have a very similar effect. Already guys going onto fresh soft tyres, and why not? Because softs that they've been on have been through wet patches. They've been everywhere. They're not very pretty, I tell thee. Neither is it for Quantum. I think lost it at Junsao, but yeah, a disappointing crash for him to end a pretty disappointing season in terms of consistent results.
Yeah, a shame for Quantum. Hopefully back next season. He's got pace about him, hasn't he? So it's not like he shouldn't be battling away. But we never know what the next game cycle is going to cause us and who is going to come out the woodwork as being the fastest around. It looks like everyone is coming in for fresh tyres. Schumacher causing a collision with Gabor for penalties.
How?
I don't know. He's a lap down.
He's also got no front wing, and he's hit a car that should be ghosted. Fortunately for Gabor, he's not been affected by it, but if there was any issue there, then again, not a good look on his part. But, well, we're back to square one, aren't we? That gapping process from Cameron didn't quite work. Gabor was still able to stay with him, but now he's got a multitude of cars behind him, all on fresh tyres. And this will be another fantastic finale here in Brazil. Looking forward to this safety car restart.
Interesting. With all the pits for the guys that have, Flopman late on, they haven't got fresh tyres. They haven't overtaken the guys that have just pitted, I should say. So they've got fresh tyres, just not as fresh as the top 7.
Not as fresh, but a lap in fairly slow speed conditions shouldn't do them too much harm. Maybe a percentage point or two here, but yeah, how does Cameron cope with this? He's not had a safety car really thrown at him recently. He's been able to gap, and it's just been able to stay that way. But now a different bit of pressure. I've done a bit of research as well into the last time drivers won 3 races in a row. We have to look back to season 13. Both in Xbox and in PlayStation, somebody achieved it. Can you guess the 2 drivers?
Well, I think season 13 is quite obvious. It was Otis Lawrence and his domination. I don't know. It's got to be a Shizou man for PlayStation because they absolutely dominated PlayStation. I kind of want to say Jensen, but I don't. I think he finished second that season. I think he had. I don't know. Put me out of my misery.
It was a Shizou driver. It was Rowan at the time who was in Shizou. And he won 3 races in a row from rounds 2 to 4. Otis won the first 4 rounds of season 13. So very similar fashion for both of them. Cameron Dowd's looking to match those recent achievements, but nobody's done it since, interestingly.
That's interesting.
On console, anyway.
Yeah, we won't go to the PC side of things because, well, they are the...
Who cares?
They class themselves as the master race, but who cares? Anyway, Gabor, what can he do? He's agonisingly close to taking a victory, but he's got a man that is on form at the moment.
He is. He is unstoppable in recent weeks, and the only way you stop him is by staying with him. That in itself is a challenge that Gabor has overcome already in this race, but it's about doing it again, and about not making a mistake on the first 2 laps of the safety car restart. The problem that Gabor has this time is that unlike the intermediate to dry crossover, DRS isn't instantaneous this time. He's got to wait, and therefore Cameron has significantly more chance of just being able to get away, really get a move on in the clean air in front of him. We'll have another lap under the safety car conditions as we await Choco. That will leave us 3 laps of racing, so if we do get DRS, it's on the final lap.
Yeah, Choco, though, is pitted. So it could mean that the safety car might not react. Well, the safety car might react to it. The game might react to it, I should say, and mean we don't get that 1 lap of DRS because the safety car stays out on lap 34. Time will tell. Schumacher's pitted as well. that won't affect it at all. It's just Choco who is going to be the cause of this possible blockage.
It should go in this lap. I had it yesterday where somebody was a minute behind and it still just overruled itself and came in. For Gabor, by the way, his best result this season is a second place, so we'll be looking to better that at the end of the game cycle. Last season, of course, he was... I don't think he was on the podium at all. I'll have to double check that and verify that, but it's only letting me onto the crossplay tier 4 standings, and I don't want that.
No, crossplay tier 4 is not going to help you. I've seen no notification. Ah, there we go. Notification. It has come in through. Gabor, I don't think got any points in anything higher than possibly a 7th place. But anyway, we are nearly back underway racing here for the final time in Season 17 Crossplay Tier 1. Let's go for it. What does Cameron Dowds do? When does he decide to bolt? Look at the cars behind, all waiting for that man to decide when to restart this race. Look at Brando there, desperate to stay up with it. And there goes Cameron Dowds this time around. And Brando has had an insane start compared to Gabor as they head down the start-finish straight. Is Brando going to send it up the inside into turn 1? He is due indeed, and there's contact between the two. I don't think there was enough room there left by Gabor, but he's still battling away, trying to find a way past that Red Bull, and Cameron must be rubbing his hands with glee with these two battling.
Rando's restart was brilliant, but Tom's might have been even better. He got straight past Dirk immediately after the start-finish line. It comes so far down the straight that you do get a really good run car off the background. Big crash, it's NLR Keke who's around. It's too late for a safety car at this stage, but another fatality in this race as the chaos commences in the final few laps of racing in Sao Paulo. BRT Lou up the inside of Volakongan. Volakongan's got a lifeline in that he did go onto softs. He stayed out on those softs that he pit on to get rid of those intermediates. He's now in the points, back into P10.
Incredible stuff off that restart for Brando and Tom. I think season 17, season 15 is calling. Tom wants his win, and this is going to be incredible down the start-finish straight again. Cameron, the fastest man on the lap, which we kind of expected, as Brando looked again to have a look at Gabor, but down the Retroproster for the 35th and penultimate time in Season 17 as Choco picks up a penalty and retires from the session. Brando will look to try and find a way past the two cars ahead of him. The season, oh goodness me, I want to say Season 15 champion from Crossplay Tier 1, Brando, is looking to get a victory here tonight. Crossplay Tier 2, sorry, Tier 2.
Tier 2, yes. Sorry. I was going to say, what's that, Reese Linton? Never mind.
He just changed his name.
It happens, doesn't it? He's become Italian as well in the process. Cameron Dowds, 50% battery. He is still burning a little bit. That's because Gabor went in quite early on his battery usage on this lap. He's still going, as is Cameron Dowds. It's the race to try and break DRS, but Cameron also acknowledging that he needs to keep enough in reserve to be able to defend from the Hungarian, who's eager for victory on the final lap of the race. 5% battery for Gabor, 40% for Cameron Dowds as our state of play. Gabor's not good enough, I don't think, to be able to make the move with battery alone. He needs to get really close with the DRS.
Let's look at it from down the rest of Reposta from turn 4. It looks too linear right now. It is going to be an absolute cluster, I think, down the start-finish straight.
Yeah, it is. 6/10 now, the gap. Ferradura, turn number 6, vital to this battle. Schumacher was the car that retired there. I was wondering who that was. In the background, no big loss. Our 6th DNF of the race, however, 7/10 the gap. Still just opening up a little bit. I'm thinking Cameron Dowds has done enough. What little battery has Gabor got to use to try and close the gap down the start-finish straight and force a potentially similar photo finish to the one we saw in Season 15? Possibly not. There's the second gap. I think Cameron's done it.
What a, well, I suppose recovery from not with Gabor all over the back of him and Brando. Cameron, a 3 in a row to end season 17. What a drive! What a race for him. Gabor, sorry, in second place. Brando in third. Look how close again for the second race in a row at Brazil. Tom has been 0.018 of a second, so close to a podium.
The top 5 last time we were here was separated by half a second. 9/10 covering Cameron Dowds and NVR Gabor. Again, brilliant battery management at the end from Cameron Dowds, using it at the perfect times, one of his absolute strengths. And he's pulled off his 3rd consecutive race victory in WOR Crossplay Tier 1. Second place finish of the season for Gabor. He adds to his Tier 1 tally. Brando, another podium for him. Another brilliant sight, of course, for one of our Tier 1 rookies in recent times. Tom, ever so close. He was gaining. I was on board with him, hoping that he just managed to maybe get over the line and take 3rd in that one, but wasn't to be. Great race regardless.
Yeah, the rain really spiced things up, and qualifying as well. What a way to have qualifying. Battling for the first lap between Dirk and Schumacher, and then what a way to finish qualifying as well, with 2 drivers setting the fastest lap, claiming a double pole, I suppose you could say. But interesting nonetheless. But fortunately for Cameron Dowds, he'd set that earlier in the session, and then he went on to win the race here in Brazil and in the interchanging conditions. Cameron Dowds wins for the 3rd time in a row and ends the season on a massive high. Gabor in 2nd place, 3rd place to Brando, with Shizou Tom in 4th. Dirk, finished where he started in 5th place. Barracu in 6th, 7th place to Flotman. Great recovery drive from him from 19th on the grid. Fair play to the Williams man. Shizou Green in 8th. 9th to Volakongan after a punt trying to stay on intermediates. It didn't work out for him, but thankfully the safety car saved him in the end. NRL Tim, who made that mistake early doors, spinning at turn 12, rounding out the point scoring, finishing there. Matuka TC in 11th, 12th to Jensen, BRT Liu in 13th, and Ryan rounding out the finishes with Schumacher, Choco, Keke, Quantum, Gustav and Jackel, all non-finishers, which takes us to us, basically, Joseph, and rounding out season 17 is going to be quite difficult.
Yeah, 17th season of WOR. Crazy to think about. Next season, season 18. Mental. Done so many in recent years, haven't we, with these shorter style seasons, but the short seasons keep everybody fresh, everybody motivated until the very final round. We saw a good example of that with the fight for the race leads, for once, going all the way down to the wire.
Yeah, reminiscent, though, in the end of season 15, like we said earlier on. And what a way. Imagine Shizou Tom doing that twice in a row with a sprint out at the end. I think he would have been absolutely, over the moon with that one. We will wait and see to see if anyone will come and join us for the finale. It would be nice. It would have been great to have Kai Pearson one last time as well. Just jump in and say a few words as champion towards us. But we'll wait and see. But Cameron Dowds, don't want to say unstoppable, but near unstoppable.
Yeah, nearly. I think another lap in that sort of situation, and he would have got away and would have started to clear NVR Gabor. But no, Gabor kept him on his toes, and I think that was good to see. Brando as well, 2nd podium of the season. A great individual achievement for him. I think other than the desync and the bit of the mess at the start, and I assume it was desync, pretty good finale from most of the guys.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I really would love to know what the tyre percentage was on the intermediates.
Yes.
Because that, a little bit squeaky bum time. Definitely for Brando, who all of a sudden lost all that time. But unfortunately, Joseph, I think we're going to be left in the lurch, which isn't a bad thing, to be honest. What a way to end.
No, Cameron's there.
Oh.
Oh,
Nice.
he's here.
Get the man in the
Cameron
box.
always wants to chat.
The short answers, but he's getting better at them. Anyway, hopefully, Cameron, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Cool. Joseph, over to you, my friend.
Cameron, to speak to you again, a third consecutive race win. First of all, I'm going to mention the
I think we possibly have lost Joseph there. So while we wait for Joseph to come back, Cameron, just quickly, how difficult was it to drive all those inters towards the end of that stint?
Yeah, the enters were pretty hard to drive on. The whole race, to be honest, on the enters, I really struggled. The car just in the high speed section, especially the long right hander, I kept almost spinning every single time. I don't know what was wrong, but I was very happy to get off the enters. And I think I was like 77% or something, so it was quite close to puncture territory when I pitted. But then when I got into the dries, I tried to get out of Gabor's DRS, didn't work, and then I think the safety car actually helped me, to be honest, because I was able to be on fresh tires and I felt a lot more comfortable driving like that. And then the DRS only got to come on the last lap, so I managed to just hold him off. And then I had more battery too, because he had to battle Brando at the restart, so it was ideal.
Yeah, you did look well. Actually, Joseph hopefully is back now. So, Joseph, are you good with your technical difficulties on that occasion? I say that, and I don't hear anything, which will be a shame if we lost Joseph right at the end. But
it's his internet. He's like 1 bar.
Oh dear, never good, never good. Obviously, you've ended the season in quite style. 3 race victories in the row. Hasn't been done. I think we said season 13. That's quite an achievement. Confident with that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think I'd like to take part in it, but also, like, you know, the likes of Kai and Liam Bowman haven't been racing, so I could sit here and be all happy about it. But again, the competition hasn't been quite as difficult as it was before, so that's probably part. I would have been maybe it still would have happened, but it definitely would have been a lot more challenging if the likes of, you know, Kai and Bowman were racing. So yeah, but I'm still really happy with it.
And what's the plans now for you? And you know, season 18 on the horizon. Where could we see you, or is that still state secret?
Well, it's just staying on PlayStation. At least for this next game cycle, and then when I'm 16, I guess we're just gonna see what happens. Depends how quick I am, and I might go back to PC. But yeah, for the next game, it's just kind of same thing as it was this year, to be honest. Well, for the end part, it's just drive on PlayStation, drive with Shizou, have fun.
Joseph, have we got you back?
Yeah, I mean, my Discord crashed, and then I tried to join my phone. That crashed. So now I'm on Xbox. So I have no idea what you've asked, Cameron, but it's a firm well done from me. It's a firm handshake. And yes, long may your annoying dominance continue.
Yeah, thanks.
It's not annoying. I'm joking.
He loves you, really. Yeah, I think there's still, as James is saying in the chat, there's still legacy to think about before the game cycle's done. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure you're looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, legacy is probably the most important league that I do at the moment. It's and it's for prize money, so it makes it even more important. So yeah, there's 2 more races left, so we'll see what we can do. But we're looking quite good at the moment.
Well, good luck and congratulations for tonight, and good luck for the legacy. Joseph, anything further for Cameron?
I'd like to promote the legacy division, and just say that Monday night is going to be a spectacular watch. As I said in qualifying, going to be a good watch. Shazoo potentially a couple of points away from the championship. Not to put pressure on you, Cameron, but we would quite like that.
Yeah. That's just added pressure, but it's alright.
It's fine. Relax.
Fantastic. Well, Joseph, I suppose it's time for us to round out the season, round out the show from a console tier 1 perspective. We are done. We've still got the Legacy division. So good luck for those taking part there, and for the streamers for that side and the commentary. I hope it all goes smoothly for you guys. But for myself and you, the season is done on a tier 1 side of things. And we've had quite an incredible season.
It has been incredible. Lots of fun races throughout. The start, maybe we thought, oh, we're going to get a championship fight. Wasn't quite to be in terms of the all-out entertainment factor that we got last season, but with it being the last season on a game cycle, there's been so many close moments as well, haven't there, with people competing at the very top of their game. So, yeah, one more look back on fondly. Kai Pearson, the Maiden Tier 1 Championship winner. He won't be back in console to defend that crown on F1 24. Cameron Dowd might step up and remain on PlayStation and pursue that crown himself, or it could be a complete unknown challenger. That's the beauty of it.
It definitely is, and it's come to the time of the show, where a time of the season as well, where I thank everyone. Firstly, thank you for standing by, both all you viewers and listeners standing by with us through all the technical difficulties from the game, from internet, or through whatever. Thank you for listening to myself and Joseph through the season. Thank you for the commentary team that fills in for us when we're not being available. You guys have been stars. Thank you to Luke, who has built this thing really with everyone here, and built a great team, and all the people behind the scenes, all the stream scenes, the imagery, the social media, whatever. It's been great. But lastly, thank you so much, Joseph. You've been an absolute rock these last few seasons. I could not have wished for a better commentary partner alongside me. So, good luck, and hopefully we may come across on paths in the future.
I'm sure we will. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to everybody who's been involved, and to yourself, Gareth, for being an amazing host on a Friday evening. Always a pleasure.
And there we go, guys. That is it. Keep in touch with the Legacy Division. 2 more rounds to go. But for now, Console Tier 1 is gone, but we will definitely see you in Season 18. Good night.